and welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where we're still in very, very good spirits following our win over Sevilla last night, which took us well clear at the top of the league. We're going to be talking today about how Xavi has transformed this team, transformed this group at Barça, and we're going to be talking about the impacts last night from Jordi Alba, Kessie and Raphinha on the night. But we are also going to have some all-important updates on the injuries there to Sergio Busquets. How long is he going to be out for? And also an injury update on Ousmane Dembele as we look ahead to a massive month and crucial games to come. It is all coming up for you. We are feeling good, so come on. And let's do it. Because I think when you are looking at last night's win and last night's performance, guys, it really did feel as though it was a big win for us. Given the fact we had so many of those teams around us dropping points, we had to capitalise on that. We had to stand up and perform. And we did. And I'm really enjoying this feeling here, whereby when there's pressure on the team, when there's emphasis on getting a win, getting a performance, and we deliver it. That is really, really good to see from this team, and there was plenty of jubilation this morning in the Catalan media, of course, all surrounding that 8-point gap at the top, and that is a significant gap at this stage of the season there, with Real Madrid really labouring and struggling in recent weeks. We have pulled ahead at the top of the league, and I just think that highlights right now, even more so, the incredible turnaround from Xavi. When he arrived at this club, the team that he inherited, the league position that he inherited, the dire situation that we were in, and you just fast forward to now. You look at how dramatically different our situation looks with Xavi at the helm now, the team that we see here before us, and that lead at the top. He deserves huge credit, enormous credit for that. And just to highlight here, the kind of levels that we're talking about, the kind of quality we're seeing from Xavi's team. The list of Barça coaches with the most points in La Liga after 46 games in charge are as follows. Luis Enrique had 112 points. Pep Guardiola had 109 points. Xavi Hernandez is tied with Pep. He is tied with Pep Guardiola for the points in La Liga after 46 games. And I think that says it all there, because when you think about the kind of quality that Luis Enrique and Pep had at their disposal, Xavi, of course, has plenty as well, but it is absolutely amazing there to be matching up with those kinds of numbers. And it was yet another clean sheet for the team last night. That now is our 15th clean sheet in 20 league matches. That is unbelievable. That is a staggering record for Barça. We have only conceded 7 goals in the league this season, and at home in the league, just the one, and that came from the penalty spot as well. It's a fearsome defensive record so far this season, and I just think the most impressive thing for me right now, and the most exciting thing when I'm looking at this team that Xavi has assembled so carefully and so precisely, and you look at the players there, you look at the positions, player by player, and I just look at that and I think, not one of those players is drastically more important than any other. And I think that in itself is a really good sign of a balanced team and a proper team. It's a group. There isn't one player that we overly depend on. Of course, there's players who give a lot. Lewandowski with his goals, of course. You look at our defensive players, you look at players in midfield, but every single one of those, they're key for us right now. Every single player has a role to play, has an importance in this team, and they all understand what their role is. And that comes from the coach, that comes from the training ground, it comes from the boardroom in assembling a squad like this. And it is so exciting right now to see how good we look, and also to see that for so many of those players, they're still young, they're still growing, they're still improving, and believe me, guys, we haven't even seen the best of this group yet. And there's something as well, guys, because it's not just about the quality that we're seeing right now from each and every one of these Barcelona players, but just have a look at the celebrations to the goals that we saw yesterday. Every single one of those goals, not just the opening goal, not just the decisive one, but right up until the third goal, every player just loves it. They are absolutely right now loving their football, enjoying playing with each other. They're happy for each other, and just look at the passion of every player. That again comes from the coach, that energy, that drive, that that determination. That is what we're seeing right now. And not every team has this sort of togetherness. You can't just create this overnight. You can't just sign a load of players, bring them in and expect it all to click. You need somebody there who's going to knit it all together. And Xavi here has assembled an absolutely phenomenal group. And Koundé even felt the need today to apologise on Twitter, because he actually felt as though with his celebration he got so caught up in the moment that maybe he went too far against his former club. He didn't want it to seem as though it was a lack of respect to Sevilla and their fans, so he said, look there, sorry if I did over-celebrate a bit. But just on Koundé and Sevilla indeed, because just have a look here at what a difference 1 year can make, because this was Jordi Alba here. You can see him on the receiving end of some frustration from Jules Koundé. Just over 1 year ago now, Koundé in the colours of Sevilla back then. He was sent off, of course, in that game. But just fast forward to last night, because this now was the two of them wheeling away in jubilant celebration to celebrate Jordi Alba's all-important opening goal. And I just think football at times, it throws up these scenarios. It throws up some really incredible stories. It's a funny old game. And I do just want to talk about Jordi Alba in a little more detail, because I think last night he really stepped up once again when he was given an opportunity. And to his credit, all season long, he's been very, very patient. He hasn't said anything. He hasn't, shown any bad attitude, anything like that. He has waited. He's been very patient for his chance. And when he's been asked to contribute, he very often does. And I've been really impressed, actually, with that level of maturity and with his attitude this season. And that was really highlighted by what he said after the game. He said, when I'm playing, I give it my all. I do my absolute best for the team. But he said, when I'm not playing this season, I try and guide the youngsters. I try and help them whenever I can, and I cheer for the team from the sidelines. He said, today I had an opportunity and I took it. And I think right now we're seeing definitely a new level of maturity from Jordi Alba. He turns 34 next month. Clearly now he's in the latter stages of his career. And with, of course, the captain's armband as well. Last night Busquets went off. Alba then had the armband. And I think he feels right now a real responsibility as that senior player to so many of these youngsters coming through. And that's exactly what we need from him. And that's exactly what Xavi will be asking for. And it was great to see him playing his part last night. And I think you just see that right now, right throughout the squad at Barcelona. You look, for instance, at Kessie yesterday. He has also been waiting extremely patiently for his opportunity. He's always maintained a really good attitude. He's always worked really hard in training. Xavi has said that right since the moment that he arrived. And yesterday, he gets that unexpected chance. He didn't expect to be coming on that early in the game. He had to rush to warm up to even get on the field. But once he was there, he grabbed it with both hands. And that is what you need to do right now in this team. At a club like Barça, with the way that we're playing, when everybody ahead of you is doing so well, everybody is playing so well right now. So when you get your chance, you have to take it. You've got to show something. And I've got to say, I've watched that assist last night since it happened several times from Kessie. It was an absolute moment there of magic. I think it showcased everything about his game, the quality that he has, and also the nice touch that he has. It's not just about physicality. It's not just about being that presence in midfield. He's got feel. He's got touch in the final third. And we saw that there with that brilliant assist. And so happy that it was able to happen for him. And I was so happy too for Raphinha. And the way that it all seemed to just come together for him in yesterday's game. Because I've got to say, guys, and we have to highlight here, it wasn't going all that well. The opening stages of the game, Raphinha again, it was some nearly moments. There was opportunities there where he was in behind, where he had chances to play that final ball or get the shot away. But again, it was just breaking down. He still seemed to be short on confidence, not really happening. But I love the fact that he kept on going. I love the fact here, and I think Xavi really would have as well, that he never gave up. He will want him to keep making those runs. Even if it's not happening, even if that ball at times is not arriving, you've got to keep going. You have to keep working hard, make them, and eventually you'll get your reward. You will get some joy for the work that you're putting in, and that's what happened. As the game went on, as the game started to open up, Raphinha there with that wonderful assist that it was right across the goal there to set up Gavi and then to get a goal himself. The determination to get on the end of that cross from Alba, it's what Raphinha needed, and now it's about kicking on from here. Let's make sure we're bottling up this confidence, moving on with it now. Raphinha, he's going to get more chances. We know that with Dembele's absence. He's going to stay in this team, and this run right now, it is so important for his Barca career that he keeps on going. But if we do indeed now turn our attention to those injury absences in the team. It was a real shame last night to see Sergio Busquets go off in those early stages of the game. Looked in real pain, didn't he? Clearly could not continue, even though he would have wanted to. Now, the club have confirmed this morning there is a left ankle sprain to Sergio Busquets. Now, that for us right now is a bit of a relief. You know, we're glad there's no tear there, there's no break. That is all really, really important. And we're only talking about quite a brief spell on the sidelines when it comes to a sprain. Now, the reports right now are suggesting it's going to be between 2 to 3 weeks of action that Sergio Busquets is going to miss. Perhaps more towards 2 weeks than 3 is the feeling, which is still, no doubt about it, a major blow for him, major blow for Xavi in this team, given that we are in a vital month of fixtures. This always seems to happen with Barca. Whenever you've got big games coming up, we're going to have injury concerns. Now, if it is just 2 weeks of Busquets, that will mean there that he's going to miss the first leg for sure against Manchester United, but he would return in time for the second leg. But if it's 3 weeks out, he is going to miss both of them there against United in that Europa League clash. And let's hope here that Busquets can return as quickly as possible. With a sprain, it is possible there to make that quick recovery, so that is what we're going to be hoping for. But when it comes to Ousmane Dembele, I did want to give you guys here a proper update on him. We haven't spoken really in depth since it happened there, his injury against Girona at the very end of January. And I do think right now, guys, this is an interesting situation because Barca are very, very keen, both the club and Xavi as well. They're not really putting any timeline on his return. The club have basically said right now that it's a left thigh strain. So again, we're only talking about a strain. It's not a tear in the muscle or anything like that. And Xavi was very quick to say, you know, that recovery time, it's going to depend on Dembele. It's all going to depend on how quickly he can get back when he feels ready to return. Now, the press right now are coming out and saying it's going to be between 3 to 4 weeks out. That Dembele, if that was true, he would miss there most of February. He'd be looking at returning around the end of the month. Again, it's all surrounding that second leg against Manchester United. There is a possibility that if he returned quite quickly from this problem, he would be in time for that game. But I think the feeling is from the club right now, and why they're not really putting any time frame on this, they don't want to rush Dembele. We know much, much better here than to force him to return, to cut any corners. We know with something like this, it has to recover completely. Right now, it's not a serious problem. That's why you don't rush it. You don't bring him back too soon. And I think the target for Dembele is much more centred right now, maybe around the start of March. You're looking at that game there against Real Madrid, the first leg of the semi-final in the Copa del Rey. That, for me, would be more of a relaxed target for Dembele, rather than those United games. We're trying to rush him and force him back. But at the end of the day, we're just going to have to wait and see how he does recover. It's all going to be dependent on him. He might be able to get back sooner. The club, they're not ruling that out. But there's not pressure on him. There's not real pressure on him to get back in, get back soon. The most important thing is that when he comes back, he is all okay. And it shouldn't be too far down the line before we're seeing this man back. But that right there, guys, is indeed the full reaction following this weekend for Barca. There is a lot to be happy about right now. There is a lot to be smiling about for us Barca fans. And we do have those really exciting games coming up. And we've got to make sure we're taking all of this forward, that we continue on this path. Please do let me know, guys, how you're all feeling sitting pretty at the top of La Liga. I'm going to be seeing you soon, of course, with all of the latest updates, the latest news throughout this week. We will not have a midweek game. That is very much a rarity. Thank you indeed for all the support, for all of you guys coming back here. And there's great energy, absolutely incredible energy in the comments right now. I love to see that. And I will see you all very, very soon. But until next time, guys, as always, Visca El Barça.